And the Bills have won the last 4 regular season games against the Chiefs. The Chiefs have won 4 postseason meetings between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. And where this is bad news for the Bills, the Chiefs kind of view this as a playoff game, not a regular season game. It's one thing to play the Bills in late November when you've basically already got the 1 seed locked up as a practical matter. It's another thing to be scratching and clawing to try to get in first place in your division, to try to push the Chargers aside and catch the Broncos. This is a much more important game for the Chiefs than it usually is when they play in the regular season. That's not good for the Bills, because when it's an important game for the Chiefs against the Bills, the Chiefs typically find a way to win.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by this game for the obvious reasons, and then I guess the warm up or like the little side stories. And one side story would be: have they ever played in the regular season where neither team was in first place in their division? So we know that the Chiefs aren't in first place. I think most people expect it's going to happen because we've seen this movie before from the Kansas City Chiefs. But the Bills aren't in first place in the weak AFC East. The Patriots already beat them. And so, yeah, I mean, no, the Chiefs have to have it. And I don't know how seriously the Bills take the Patriots, the upstart Patriots. The Bills have won the last 5 AFC East division titles. So they are the class of the division. But let's just say they lose to Kansas City, and you've already lost in a head-to-head matchup with the Patriots, and the Patriots still have 2 games against the Jets and a home game against the Dolphins. Now you're starting to say, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now we've just assumed that we know we're gonna go to the playoffs and we'll go in as AFC East champions. I don't know. We start to think about a wild card. So I think that is like that's definitely not the main storyline here, but it is a little twist on the Chiefs-Bills rivalry.
Well, and the other reality of it, too, when the game begins, the Chiefs and Bills will know what their rivals in their divisions did, because the Patriots have the Falcons early, the Broncos are in Houston early, and the Chargers are in Tennessee early. So that'll add to the, if all 3 of those teams win, that raises the stakes of that game, that late afternoon potential classic between the Chiefs and the Bills. It's hard not to believe in the Chiefs, especially when we look at what the Bills have done this year. They had 4 wins against not great teams. 3 of those games could have gone either way. Then they lost 2 in a row. Their most impressive win of the season by far was Sunday against the Carolina Panthers with the benefit of the bye week. Well, they didn't get a bye week for this one. And this is a tougher opponent. And, yeah, they're at home at least, but it's Mahomes and they're clicking. Hey, the regular season game between these 2 teams is never as satisfying as the postseason game. When we feel that it's inevitable, we're going to see this one again. It almost feels like a preseason game. Like, this one doesn't really matter, but I think we're setting this up the right way. It really does matter. It's different than the usual Chiefs-Bills game, especially if Denver Chargers and Patriots win in the early window. The pressure on the Chiefs and the Bills is going to be increased. And it may be that the loser of this team, as a practical matter, doesn't win their division and has to get in position for a rematch the hard way. Could be a wild card rematch between these teams. The way if the Chiefs win the division and they don't get a bye, and the Bills end up a wild card, when you do that first week arrangement of games, it could be Chiefs at Bills or Bills at Chiefs, either one, right out of the gates.
Mike, I love this rivalry for many reasons, and we've seen so many great rivalries in football over the years. It was, Patriots Colts for a while, and then back in the 70s, different conferences, but you had the Steelers and the Cowboys, the Cowboys and the Niners in the same conference. So this is kind of like that. And I heard Brandon Beane last year when they lost that game. It was a heartbreaking loss. Yet another heartbreaking loss for Buffalo, where they're looking at it and they're saying, well, hey, we picked it up on fourth down. Wish we had some technology to prove that we picked it up on fourth down. Now we have the technology. We didn't last year. But he said,
well, we don't have the right technology. We don't have the technology to spot it. We don't have the technology to spot it. We just have the technology to measure it.
Yeah. Well, he said last year he was describing the loss, and he said, look, we're eventually going to knock the door down. You know, I've talked to people who have been close, and you just keep pounding the door, and eventually the door comes down. And I agree with that for the most part, except what's really got to get into their heads is that that chart we put up there, that they've beaten this team. It's not like they can't beat Kansas City. They know they can beat Kansas City in the regular season, but they can't beat them in the playoffs. And when does it get to the point where you say, where it starts to mess with your head a little bit? When you have last year's loss, it's that fourth down. It comes down to fourth down last year. And then the classic, I'd say it's number 5. It's probably number 5 in Bills' history of heartbreaking losses. I'm going to say the top 4 of their 4 straight Super Bowl losses. But I'm just going to guess number 5 is 13 seconds. 13 seconds. All you have to do is just bleed out these 13 seconds, and you're going on to the AFC Championship game. In Arrowhead, you got them, and suddenly you don't. So the psychology of it is interesting to me. Like, what does this team think of Kansas City? The regular season means they know they can beat them in the regular season. What do they think when they match up against them in the playoffs?
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.